They checked his cell every hour, watched his every move, surrounded him with guards, walls, and cameras. And yet, on July 11, 2015, Joaquin, El Chapo, Guzman, Mexico's most notorious drug lord, vanished. No gunfire, no chase, just gone. This is the story of one of the most brilliant, brazen prison escapes in modern history, engineered with military precision and executed underground. El Chapo wasn't just another kingpin, he was the boss of the Sinaloa cartel. At his peak, he ran a drug empire worth billions, trafficking cocaine, heroin, meth, and marijuana across borders with ruthless efficiency. He didn't just command an army, he controlled towns. Farmers, judges, police, even mayors, many were either loyal, silenced, or bought. In 2001, he escaped prison for the first time, hidden inside a laundry cart. It took 13 years to catch him again. When they finally did in 2014, Mexican officials made one thing clear. El Chapo will never escape again. He was sent to Altiplano, Mexico's most secure prison. Isolated, watched 24/7, every movement, every meal, every moment was monitored. So how did he do it? The answer: he didn't break out. He was dug out, by a team of professionals. El Chapo's men bought land near the prison, a modest, unremarkable construction site just over a mile away. From there, they spent months digging. Not a crude tunnel, but a fully engineered escape route. It had lighting, ventilation, and even a rail-mounted motorbike to speed him through it. The tunnel ran 33 feet underground, over 4,900 feet long, and it aligned perfectly beneath one specific cell. How did they know which cell he'd occupy? How did they avoid detection by seismic sensors or guards? There was only one chilling possibility: they had inside help. Surveillance cameras failed at key moments. Guards later claimed they heard drilling, and ignored it. This wasn't the work of common criminals. It was an architectural feat. The crew included engineers, surveyors, and mining experts. They used GPS systems, blueprints of the prison, even drones, according to some reports. It cost over $1 million to build. To El Chapo, that was loose change. They drilled mostly at night, disposing of tons of earth under the guise of construction waste. Meanwhile, El Chapo kept a quiet routine. He exercised, complained about conditions, walked in circles, a facade, while a ghost tunnel crept closer. Then came July 11, 2015, 8:52 p.m. El Chapo slipped into the shower, the one spot in his cell with no camera coverage. He bent down, and vanished. Beneath the shower floor was a square hole, the tunnel entrance. Inside, a modified motorbike sat on rails. El Chapo jumped on, and sped through the tunnel to freedom. At the other end, in a half-built warehouse, he emerged, got into a vehicle, and disappeared into the Mexican countryside. By the time guards realized he was gone, he was already long underground. The world was stunned. Journalists, governments, citizens. Details emerged slowly, and disbelief only grew. Mexican authorities launched a massive manhunt. Helicopters swarmed, roadblocks sprang up, house-to-house searches began. The U.S. offered help, demanded answers. Over 30 prison officials were interrogated. Some were charged, many claimed ignorance. El Chapo, gone without a trace. Some said he hid in bunkers. Others believed he fled to the Sinaloa mountains. It took 6 months of relentless pressure, intelligence, and luck. January 2016, Los Mochis, Mexico. Mexican Marines stormed a house. After a fierce gun battle, El Chapo was captured alive. This time, they didn't take chances. He was extradited to the United States, for good. Today, El Chapo is locked inside ADX Florence, America's most secure prison. Known as the Alcatraz of the Rockies, it is built to be escape-proof. He's confined 23 hours a day. No windows, no physical contact. His only view is concrete. There are no tunnels here. No blind spots, no motorbikes, only silence. But the legend of his escape lives on, studied by security agencies, engineers, and criminals alike. It exposed not just El Chapo's audacity, but the fragility of systems we think are unbreakable. He didn't escape through violence. He escaped through architecture, and that raises a darker question. If El Chapo could vanish from Mexico's most secure prison, how many others could do the same, if the blueprint still exists? His escape wasn't luck, it was the result of strategic planning and precision. His crew selected a discreet property a mile from the prison, a modest house with a backyard. From there, they dug a tunnel nearly a mile long. They weren't amateurs. The team included engineers, surveyors, and mining professionals. They mapped the route using GPS and prison blueprints, calculating the precise location of El Chapo's cell. It had electricity, lighting systems, a ventilation network, rails for a motorbike. They removed dirt quietly, hauling it out in bags hidden in construction debris or scattered across fields. Despite strange noises, guards looked the other way, or were told to. The corruption ran deep. Some guards were later arrested. Others claimed threats or bribes. Inside his cell, El Chapo kept calm, never hinting at what was beneath him. Then came the night, the trapdoor in the shower, the waiting motorbike, the race through the tunnel. By the time surveillance footage showed an empty cell, it was too late. At the tunnel's end, a warehouse, a getaway car, and freedom. Panic erupted, sirens blared, searchlights swept the ground, but he was gone, a ghost. The questions that followed were damning. How could this happen? Who helped him? Where was he now? Mexico's government was humiliated. Security forces were deployed nationwide. Dozens were detained. Still, El Chapo remained free for months. Until January 2016, when Mexican Marines brought him in, after a firefight in Los Mochis. This time, there would be no second chance. Now in ADX Florence, El Chapo is held in near total isolation. He spends his days in a concrete box, no sunlight, no fresh air, no visitors. This prison was built to stop men like him, to end the myth, and yet, his escape continues to echo, not just as a story of crime, but as a study in possibility. Because if El Chapo could escape Mexico's most secure prison, could someone else escape the most secure prison in the world? El Chapo's tunnel escape wasn't just a jailbreak. It was a message about ingenuity, corruption, determination. He vanished beneath the feet of his captors, not with violence, but with precision. So we must ask, what other secrets lie beneath the surface? What other blueprints still exist? And most importantly, who will be next? The aftermath of El Chapo's escape was chaos, but also a window into a deeper, darker world. Authorities scrambled to piece together how such a feat was even possible. How could a tunnel, nearly a mile long, be built under the nose of one of the world's most secure prisons? The answer lay in layers of corruption, cunning, and meticulous planning. Inside Altiplano Prison, whispers circulated of guards who looked the other way, officials who took bribes, and others too terrified to speak out. But beyond that, El Chapo's reach ran deeper than anyone imagined. His cartel didn't just traffic drugs, they controlled entire regions, weaving a web of influence through politics, law enforcement, and business. Some of the guards involved later claimed they were pressured, or paid off, to ignore the drilling sounds that echoed beneath their feet. Others simply feared for their lives. For El Chapo, the tunnel was more than an escape route, it was a statement of power. A reminder that even in the tightest security, his influence was untouchable. But the engineering marvel itself was astonishing. The tunnel wasn't just long, it was sophisticated. About 4 feet wide, 5 feet tall, wide enough for a person on a motorbike. It had electricity fed through long cables, lighting the way with bulbs hanging from the ceiling. Ventilation shafts kept fresh air circulating, preventing suffocation. And the rails, they allowed the motorbike to speed silently through the darkness. How did they build it without triggering alarms or alerting neighbors? They covered their tracks with extreme care. Excavated dirt was hidden in sacks, hauled away disguised as construction waste. Workers disguised as laborers on the surface worked in shifts, mostly at night. Even the local residents nearby reported hearing strange noises but dismissed them as normal construction sounds. After all, who would suspect a drug lord's prison escape tunnel hidden beneath a nondescript building? El Chapo's escape forced Mexico to confront a hard truth. Even the most secure prisons aren't immune to corruption and ingenuity. And it sparked a wave of reforms, increased surveillance, staff rotations, and stricter protocols. But the bigger question lingered: who else might have a tunnel? Who else could be quietly plotting their own escape? The story of the tunnel also highlighted the dark underbelly of the drug trade. El Chapo was captured again in 2016, but the Sinaloa cartel remained. His absence didn't end the drug empire, it evolved. New leaders rose, and the stakes grew higher. Prisons became battlegrounds not just for control of cells, but control of information and influence. In some ways, El Chapo's tunnel was a symbol of the cartel's resilience. A message that no matter how tightly they were contained, they could, and would, find a way out. The story captivated the world, inspiring books, documentaries, and investigations. Security experts studied the tunnel as a case study in prison vulnerabilities. Some even speculated about possible copycat attempts elsewhere. But beyond the technical marvel, it was a story about human ambition, and the lengths people will go to regain freedom. El Chapo's escape was a rare blend of cunning, corruption, and technology. It shattered the myth of invincibility around high-security prisons. And it exposed the fragile line between order and chaos. Today, the tunnel lies sealed, a hidden monument beneath the earth. A reminder that sometimes, the greatest escapes happen not with guns or violence, but with a shovel, a motorbike, and an unwavering will. And so the legend endures of El Chapo's great escape, a daring story of power, precision, and the underground world few ever see. But as long as tunnels can be dug, and plans meticulously laid, the question remains, who's next to vanish, and how will they do it? Even as El Chapo languishes in ADX Florence, his escape continues to haunt authorities and prison officials worldwide. It exposed vulnerabilities in the system, and sparked a global rethink about prison security. How do you truly lock down a prisoner when corruption runs deep? How do you monitor a prison when modern technology can be bent or bypassed? The El Chapo tunnel escape triggered sweeping reforms, not just in Mexico, but beyond. Security agencies worldwide reassessed their protocols. Prisons increased the use of seismic sensors to detect underground digging. They added thermal cameras and motion detectors in blind spots. They re-examined staff vetting procedures, because a corrupt guard can be more dangerous than any inmate. Yet, despite these efforts, the story left a sobering truth. No prison is truly escape-proof. Because where there's enough money and determination, human ingenuity will find a way. El Chapo's escape also became a cautionary tale for governments grappling with organized crime. It showed that cracking down on the leaders is only part of the battle. The infrastructure around them, the networks of loyalty, corruption, and fear, are just as important. But the tunnel itself remains a marvel of engineering and secrecy. How did they manage communication? How was the dirt removed? How was the tunnel reinforced to prevent collapse? Some details remain classified, known only to a few insiders. Yet, it is believed the tunnel used steel supports to shore up the walls and ceiling. Ventilation systems may have been powered by quiet electric fans, preventing toxic buildup. The motorbike rail system was custom-built, designed to be light, fast, and silent. El Chapo's escape also raised questions about surveillance. Why did cameras fail? Why did guards ignore warnings? Many were complicit, others afraid. The cartel's reach was widespread, and it served as a chilling reminder, even the tightest prisons can be undermined from within. Since then, authorities have cracked down hard on corruption. Several prison officials were arrested and charged. Some faced long prison terms themselves. But the damage was done. El Chapo's legend grew. He became not just a drug lord, but a symbol of defiance and audacity. Movies, series, and books immortalized his story. Yet, beyond the spectacle, the tunnel escape stands as a lesson. A lesson about power, and how it can corrupt even the most fortified places. It's a reminder that no system is perfect, that vigilance must be constant, and that sometimes, the most effective escapes aren't fought with force, but with patience, planning, and precision. As for El Chapo himself, he remains behind bars. But the story of his escape will continue to inspire awe, fear, and curiosity. Because in the end, it wasn't just a prison break. It was a masterclass in the art of escape, and a challenge to every prison warden in the world. If he could do it, who else might try? And will they succeed? Only time will tell. El Chapo's tunnel escape wasn't just a jailbreak. It was a message about ingenuity, corruption, determination. He vanished beneath the feet of his captors, not with violence, but with precision. So we must ask ourselves, what other secrets lie beneath the surface? What other blueprints still exist? And most importantly, who will be next? Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing true crime and history tales. Until next time, stay curious.